Hi guys, Matt Lemke with Your Gamer Goggles, and we are at Gen Con 2018. That's 51, for those of you that are counting. And I am at the Kyoudai portion of Studio 2 Publishing's booth with Sean, and we're going to talk about, I guess it's the world of Steam and Darkness, the world of Aden. Which looks pretty cool to me, and it's set in a Pathfinder setting, and maybe any other settings?
Yeah, it's we've published it for Pathfinder and Savage Worlds, and we have some free conversion guides for people who want to play other things like Fate or Mini 6 or Roll and Keep and things like that. So we try to make it as accessible as possible.
Any movement towards 5e?
You know, a lot of people have asked about that, but I don't feel like it's in my wheelhouse. I'm the creative designer right now, and so some people have approached us with offers. We'll have to see what shakes out.
So with the onset of the Pathfinder playtest, are you going to move towards the playtest then?
Well, that's interesting. I went and picked the playtest up earlier so I can have a look, but I really enjoy running as a GM Pathfinder, and I enjoy playing as a player in a Pathfinder game, but riding it I have always found to be a little bit nerve-wracking just because of the level of detail. So we're considering right now whether or not we want to convert to second edition when it comes out, or whether or not we want to create its own unique rule system just for Thunderscape and continue that way. Savage Worlds sells well. It's simple. It's a fast system, and a lot of people really like it. So we're going to continue it as long as it remains viable. But right now we're seriously considering adopting a new system just for our own game.
And what makes your game system unique, or your world unique?
Oh, well, it's to me, it's easy to gush. It came out in the 90s in a couple of computer games put out by SSI, and it was briefly adopted as an RPG in the early 90s by Weston Games using their D6 and Masterbook systems. And when I first read it back then, I think it was 96, it completely captivated me. It was absolutely unique at that time. It had, it was an industrial fantasy world that, with melded magic and science flawlessly, and it had this supernatural cataclysm that had occurred and thrown the world into almost a post-apocalyptic state. So it was all these different genres that at the time, nobody was doing genre mashups then, and to me it just absolutely, I was blown away by it. And so we tried to get the rights to it for about 15 years before we were able to purchase them, and since then it's just been, we've been cranking it out as much as possible. It's a really diverse setting. It has lots of different cultural influences in it. We've tried to take the things that people enjoy from standard fantasy and include those, but we're trying to do them in a way that makes sense, in a way that kind of skips some of the hang-ups that you get in regular games or regular fantasy settings. And so far, I feel like it's turned out pretty well.
So how many books do you have for the setting then?
Oh, geez. Let's see. There's the core book, Pathfinder. There's the core book. We have 3 adventure modules. We have 4 class guides. We have 8 little booklets that are just like pieces of information about the world. And then this year, in 2018, we've been publishing a PDF every week for the entire year. First week of Pathfinder, second week in Savage Worlds. So there's been, I want to say 16 of those, so I guess altogether that would put us somewhere in the mid to high 20s.
Wow, that's a lot of content. I saw the one book. I didn't expect all that.
Yeah, well, we do a lot of it is digital, because sometimes we have ideas we want to explore, but I don't want to pad it and just put stuff in just so I can sell it in print, right? So a lot of times we get PDFs that are not long enough to be in print form. And so because people have kept asking, for the first time ever here at the show, we have the first 10 of our little gazettes, PDF-only products right here. It's the first 10 of our PDF-only products.
Yeah, I can see why you don't put that in print.
I mean, that's 10. Right, that's 10 of them.
It's like, so what, 60, 70 pages?
I want to say 32.
Wow, I'm bad.
Well, I could be wrong. No, see, you're closer. It's 44. But it's, it has new mechanical information, new setting information, races, locations, organizations that GMs and players can use to add more aspects of the game. Basically, I just really needed a vehicle to write more Thunderscape stuff more frequently, so that's what we did.
So are you guys gonna turn this into like a quarterly magazine or something then?
We're not sure. We've talked about distribution. We got to talk to our partners at Studio 2 and see what kind of options we have. Right now, it's just going out on drive-through. we're looking at a couple of different ways to do it, just to organize it a little bit differently. But that's the beauty of the industry the way it is right now. There's a lot of options even for a small publisher like us, and so we're just trying to make sure we use the right format at the right time to get it to as many people as we can.
Okay, so what is your favorite part of the setting? I mean, you said there's a whole bunch of different cultural stuff.
There is. My favorite part of the setting is that there's one of the nations in the world fell after the cataclysm, and this guy took over, this warlord took over, and everybody calls him the Iron Tyrant. And he is the most demonstrably evil person in the setting, right? He's a terrible person and does terrible things, but he's also the one person who's doing the most to bring the world back from the apocalypse. And so all of the other nations, they hate him, but they can't really do anything because he's the one who's managed to restore trade and avoid starvation in all these other nations. And I really enjoy bringing that into it, like that political aspect where it's like, do we oppose his schemes in order to try and do the right thing, or do we not do it and make sure that there's no risk that people are going to not get their food shipment today and things like that. You can see on our cover.
Yep, cover's beautiful.
He has these giant mecha-magical trains that cover that cross the continent.
That's a train. I thought that was a building.
It looks a little bit like that. You can see the tank tread down here on the side. But we have all these different. He has these massive thunder trains, they're called, that cross the country and bring it back. It is. It's a single large continent. We're looking at exploring it a little bit more now. We have a book coming out that's going to be about a archipelago that's far to the south. So here's another one of them.
That's
here
better.
you can see. Yeah. And art like that's based on a picture that was in the original RPG back in the 90s. It just was one of the single most iconic things that stuck with me for 20 years about the game. And so I knew when we got it that we had to take that and do more with it. So I enjoy that a lot. I like the fusion of magic and technology into its own discipline to create these neat conflicts between the two.
I'm kind of doing that in my own game world right now. Sort of high magic in areas, limited magic in others.
Right.
It's a headache.
It is. It can be. If you have to, there has to be good justification, or the players will put you out on it, right?
Well, so, no, it's more like the OP factor too.
Right.
And how do you stop this character who's really good over here, and then he comes over here and he's like, I got to develop other skills. So.
Right.
It's a little bit of a headache, so I respect what you did.
Well thank you. We had a brilliant, my friend Rich Wolf designed the classes and the races for us in the Pathfinder Corps. He's a brilliant designer, so I've run so many games with it since he started handing me the playtest stuff. I can't even tell you. It's ridiculous.
So anything else you want to add about it?
No, it's all available on Drive-Thru or Studio 2, or you can come by the booth. We've got plenty of stuff. Come on by. We'll share our joy of Thunderscape with you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. See you next year.
Hi, guys. Meet the Nibbles, who's gonna go down. She just decided not to go down my back, so we'll do this for her so she's comfy. Thanks for watching my video, and I appreciate it. Please hit the like button and share it if you know somebody who might be interested. And of course, there's always Twitter and the Facebook thingy, and soon I have a newsletter coming. That'll be down there or in a link below, and my kitty cat loves that idea. So anyway, there was one more thing. Oh yeah, subscribe. Be a part of my community, our community. Let's make it grow together. See you guys at a con somewhere, or a local store, or if I'm driving through the country, maybe a game club. I don't know. You're not going to go knock down my camera. Bye, guys.